Okay, so let's try to do the file copy operation, file content copy operation. So first what we have to do, we have to read the content from one file, and one by one we'll try to write to another file. So since this is a character, so we can use file reader as well as buffered reader. So we will use buffered reader because it is faster, right? So what is the first file we have? File, and this is the source file. So this is the source file where we are going to actually abc.txt. So from this file we are going to read the content and we'll try to take. Similarly, I will have destination file or a target file, that is abc copy with the file name. File name is abc copy. Okay, so we'll try to read from this file one by one and we'll try to write to this particular target file. Okay, so what we will do, we will try to read from this file. So how do I read? For reading purpose we can use file writer equal to new file writer, and you can say source file. Reader, that should be reader. File reader to read the file content, and this is a source file. Now you will get the checked exception. Check, you will get the IO exception. Now what do we do? We'll try to read from this file with the help of buffered, because buffered is faster. I will pass file reader as an input. Now we'll try to read with the help of buffered reader dot read, and I will get the input. This is the input. Now I will continue reading. Till the time it is end of -1. So what we have to do, whatever the content we have, we will try to write that to the target file. So what is the target file we have? So I want to write now. I have read that. Similarly, what I will do for writing purpose. So for this target also, so this is completely for the source file for writing purpose. Target file. So for writing purpose, I will use file writer equal to new writer target file, and I will use buffered writer also. Buffered writer equal to new buffered writer, and I will say file writer. Tick. So I will use this buffered writer here, buffered writer dot write, and I will specify this input. I will say char and input, but I'm just typecasting. That's it. And I will get the next input like this. This will continue, and then finally what we will do, once everything is done, we will close reader, writer, everything. So I will close first file reader. Before that I have to close buffered writer, buffered reader dot close. Similarly, buffered writer dot close, and similarly file reader dot close, file writer dot close. The order should be first close the buffer, then close the writer, like this. So first we have to close buffer, and then reader, buffered writer, file writer, and then finally we'll say file copy operation. File copy operation done. Let's check. Now let me tell you, this file is empty now. This file is empty. Now I am trying to write to this file. File copy operation done. So let's check the file content. Yes, so we are able to copy that, right? Easy. Now I want to tell you that the difference between a file writer or reader or buffer and the file directly. If you are trying to read or write from the file and the if you are trying to read or write from the buffer, what is the difference? We'll try to understand that also. So for that purpose, what I'm going to do, I will create a file and there I'm going to write, let's say 10 lakhs number. I want to write some 10 lakhs numbers into a file. So we'll do the same thing with the writer as well as with buffer also, and we'll see the difference, how much time it takes, right? So we'll see the performance of their each of the thing. So I will write file writer performance test. So I will write one file called as pqr, that's perfectly fine. I will write to pqr file. Check. Now I want to write to a file equal to new file. And there I will specify the file name pqr.txt. So this file I want to write a lot of numbers. So for writing purpose I will use file writer equal to new file writer. There I specify the file and I might get exception. Not here. Throws IO exception. And I will try to write. Now I am going to write to this file index starting from 1 to let's say 1 lakh. 100. So I am going to write file writer dot write and I will write I. Check. That's it. Now I want to calculate how much time it is taking. So time taken to write. So I will, before I start writing, I will tag the time. So how do I take that? I will say start time equal to local date time dot now. Take. So similarly I will take that after the end time and simply I will do the difference. So end time dot get nanoseconds minus start time dot get nano. Let's check. Now it may cause application crash because so it will take a lot of time or it may take small amount of time also. So it is running now. Time taken to write, this should be before start time. Sorry. नहीं नंबर पड़ा वो उसके इसमें कैप्चर भी नहीं हो पाया. Let me check the file. Oh my god. Hmm? No, it is not blank, it is loading. Hmm. If you go to the file, you will see the difference. 28 MB, around 27.6 or something. That's why it is giving me this issue. It is not getting open now. Hmm. It has sanked ISO. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Notepad will open that. It is very, which file? Notepad is also getting confused. No, not responding. What I will do, I will just delete the file and I will create new file. ठीक है. Let's try to run this. Yeah, Nicholas. Ah, that's the reason. What we will do, we'll close the file later also. Yeah, that. Okay. Just taking these many nanoseconds. How many? I don't know. You can take in seconds also. This is around how many seconds? Close to 4 seconds. Yeah, close to 4 seconds. So we'll try the same assignment with the buffered writer. So instead of writing with the writer, I will use buffered writer. File writer, and then I will use, yes, and then I will finally close that. Okay. Now if the files are very big, this will create a lot of impact. If the files are in GBs or TB, that time it will take a lot of time with file writer. It's taken very less amount of time. Very less amount of time. You can try in seconds also. Get second. Get second. It will be very much less. Not even second also. It is very less amount. 2 seconds I think actually. So I will try with this milliseconds. I will try with the help of, without this I will try. This is start. We'll try with the milliseconds. That's fine. Should be in time minus start time. That's correct. So we took around close to 2 seconds, 1.8 seconds. So 50% time. If you see in the, it was taking 4 seconds. It is taking 50% time. Or maybe less than that, 1394. Now on your machine it may take very less time also, because based on the available resources. My machine is already occupied with lot many softwares, so it will take time. Tick. Then we have seen how to do the operation with the file class. If you want to create a new file, we use create new file, file.create new file. Then this method will return true or false. If the file is created, it will return true. If the file is not created, it will return false. Then you want to create a folder, you can create that, file.create new file. Then if it is created, sorry, this was creating a file inside a particular folder. Take. Then I want to create a folder inside a folder. So we do that using mkdir. We can do mkdir. Folder inside a folder, you specify the entire path and you specify the, I try to create multiple folders here in a loop. Now you want to delete a file, we have just simply method file.delete. There also file equal to new file, and there you create the file object and file.delete. This will delete the file in the particular folder. Now you can delete a folder also, folder.delete. Folder.delete will do. You want to know the file size, then you can do with the file.length. So this will return how many characters are there. You can get the file permissions or set the permissions. Set writable true means this will be able to write. If I say false means you cannot modify the file content. You can get the file content. Can we write? Can write means is it a writable format or not? Then we can set the file permissions that we have seen. Then you want to list the file names in a given folder. So we have list method, folder.list. So in that particular folder, I want to know how many files are there. Not how many, but names of each file you will get as an array of strings. So each iteration you print one file name. Then I want to filter the file names based on some condition. I want only files whose name starts with demo1. तो ये आपने यहाँ पे ऐसे filter किया and that object you have passed here. You can pass either object or you can pass this lambda directly. You can pass this lambda directly. You can directly write. You don't need to create this line also. This also you can pass. So in this case, what will happen? You will get the files whose name starts with demo1. Easy. Then you want you want to have file objects, not only names. You want file objects, which will contain file name, all the properties of file, everything. So that you can do with the list files. Now I want to get file objects, but not all, based on filter. So I do with this. So instead of writing this separately, you can write this as part of this method, like this also. You can write directly like this also. This was we have seen regarding the file class. Then you want to read write. So we have used file input stream, output stream, right? So we have used file input stream and output stream. So we have seen yesterday. Now what is a stream? Stream is just a logical connection between two entities. Now data can be binary data, that is audio, video, or images, and character data. Now in order to write or read, we need a stream. Stream is just a logical connection between source and destination. Now streams, based on the content it carries, we have two types of streams: binary stream and character oriented streams. Byte oriented streams, now you want to input stream and output stream. Now I want to read from a source into Java application. So in terms of bytes, I use input stream. I want to write from Java application in terms of bytes. So I go with the output stream. Then character oriented streams, I have reader and writer. Now I want to read in terms of characters. I have reader class. I want to write in terms of characters, I have writer class. Then we have seen these couple of classes: byte oriented streams and character oriented streams. If you want to read write in terms of bytes, we have these set of classes. If you want to read write in terms of characters, we have these set of classes. So in terms of byte oriented streams, we have input stream and output stream. These two classes are abstract classes. Input stream, we have file input stream, buffer input stream, object input stream. So if you want to read in terms of bytes from a file, we have file input stream. If I want to read from a buffer, then I have buffered input stream, object input stream. So object input stream will help you to read the object which is stored in the file. File output stream, you want to write to a file in terms of bytes. I want to write to a buffer in terms of bytes, then I have buffered output stream. I want to write a object, then we have object output stream. I want to read in terms of characters from a file, so I have file reader. I want to write to a file in terms of characters directly, so I have file writer. I want to read from a buffer in terms of characters, I have buffered reader. I want to write to a buffer in terms of character, I have buffered writer. Right? So for the same thing we have used. And then serialization. What is serialization? What is deserialization? Serialization means it is a process of saving an object into file permanently. For that we use object output stream and serializable interface. Now if the interface is not implemented, you will get non-serializable exception. Now for deserialization, again we use object input stream and we use serializable interface. Serialization means saving object into file. Deserialization means reading the object back. Right? For that also we have seen. Now how do we read in terms of bytes from a file? So I have created the class file object you created. Then you create file input stream object. You specify the file. Then you read the file input stream dot read. You get one input, that is one number we get, and we will try reading the content from the file till the time we do not get -1. So at the end of this file, you will get -1 as a output, and when we get -1, that is the end of your while loop. And finally we close the file input stream. Similarly, I want to write to a file in terms of bytes. We use file, create the file output stream object, then specify the file, and then call the write method, call the close method to close the string, and then finally file operation done. Now I want to read from a file in terms of characters, so I will use file reader. You create the file reader object, specify the file, and file reader dot read. You will continue with the reading till the time you have elements, and then close the file reader. Now I want to write to a file in terms of characters. Then I create the file, then I use file writer object, and new file writer I specify file and true. True means append the content. Then file writer dot write, it will write and then finally close. So this way we are able to write to a file in terms of characters. Now I want to read from a buffer in terms of bytes. So I use buffered input stream. So first you create the file object, then you create file input stream object, then you create buffered input stream object. So file object is this reference is input to the file input stream, this reference is input to the buffered input stream, and then you buffered input stream to read. You will continue the reading till the time you have elements, then finally close the buffered input stream and close the file input stream also, right? Then I want to read from a buffer in terms of characters. We have buffered input stream for file object, file reader object, buffered reader object, and then using buffered reader we use read. We'll continue the reading till the time we have elements, and at the end this will return -1, that is end of your loop. Then we close the file, this buffered reader and file reader. That way we are able to read from a buffer in terms of characters. I want to write to a buffer in terms of characters. So we use file object, file output stream object, buffered output stream object, then buffered output stream object dot write. Then close the buffered output stream, close the file output stream, and that's the end of your program. Then we have seen I want to write to a file, not directly but through a buffer. So you will write to a buffer in terms of characters. So buffer file writer, buffered writer dot write, and then close. Then we have seen how to serialize object, how to deserialize object. So if you want to save object, now first of all you create a student class object. Now student class object, I have student is a class. Student is a class. There we have getter, setters, fields, toString, and that class implements serializable. That's it. Then you create the object, then you create the file object, then you create the file output stream object, and then you create the file object output stream, and then you call object output stream dot write object, specify the object, close the object output stream, close the file output stream, and that's it. So this way you are able to serialize a object. Now sometime I do not want to save particular file, particular objects field, so I use transient. So transient means this particular field will not be saved in the object as a file. In the file, object field will not be stored. Now deserialization, you want to
override the toString method is the below last part. Override is writing the override is toString happen. Okay.
So toString originally where it is present? Object class. It is present in the object class that we are overriding. Then we create the object, we read a file input stream, then we create the object input stream, then we create the student, we read the object, we typecast that to the student, and we assign to student, and finally print the student. So it will call toString method, object output stream close, object input stream and file input stream close, and that's it. This is deserialization and this is serialization. Now you tell me when toString method will be called. Every time you try to print a reference, internally it will call toString method. Even though you do not write this, this will automatically call.
Okay. So that is the reason that has to be overridden, otherwise it will give an...
If you do not override, it will print the hash code. This is printing like this. Now if I do not override the toString method, what will happen? It will print the toString method of the object class, and this will print the complete package name, hexadecimal hash code that we do not want. Now it will print the complete hash code. Sorry, what happened? Okay, let me is that student one? I will create new file. Okay, where is that student file? Student.txt. Let me close this. Let me run this one more time. Sorry. I should not read. There is nothing to read. There is nothing in that file. So I will first serialize that.
Yeah.
First I will serialize, and then I will try to read. Okay, let's come here. Now it will call the toString method of the object class. Sorry.
For 1 year and
It will print the hash code like this. Now I do not want this. For that purpose, I override the toString method. Now you try to read that again. Content. Yes. Now that file is corrupted, I think. Okay, let's do the serialization. The file is getting serial, this issue. What happened? There is nothing inside that, that's why. We try to deserialize. I was supposed to run the serialized. Now run this. Now save the object. Now we are trying to read, and finally we'll call the toString method.
Yes.
Tick. I will try to delete this because this will cause a issue. Tick. Easy. Now let's say I have a class. There I have some private data, int student ID. Then I have private string student name, private string student address. Now you have to manually generate the getter setters. Now let's say there are 100 fields. Now for 100 fields you have to generate the getter setters, right? So what you do, you generate the getter setters like this. Then you generate the constructor also, right? Constructor also for all parameters. Now because of this, what is happening? Your code is very much increased. Length of the code is increased. Now what I want to generate? I want to generate the toString also. See here, my length of number of lines code is this much. Now if I have 100 fields, now for 100 fields, the length of the code will be too much, right? So to now I will try to access the members also. I will just try to access the members. Student test. So we'll try to test that. We'll try to create an object. We'll try to call the methods student equal to new student, and I will pass some values. 1, let's say we have to char, say so I have created the object, right? Now I want to set student dot set address to, I am changing the address to, let's say Mumbai. So I'm calling the setter method student dot set student ID to, let's say 1001. and then I print the details of student. So I just print the student. So this will call me toString method. So all of this code you have generated, all of this code you have written. If there are 100 fields, now like that you have 100 classes. Now for 100 classes, hundreds of fields. It will take a lot of time. And time, that's fine, but the length of the code is increased. Length of the code is increased, right? So to avoid, this is a kind of a repetition. Now let's say in your application you have hundreds of classes. Now hundreds of classes need this getter, setters, constructor, toString. Every other class needs. So for all these classes, length of the code will increase too much, right? So to avoid this one point, there is one library people have already developed. The name is Lombok. So we will try to use that library. Library or a jar we call it as. Library means किसी ने ऑलरेडी कोड बना के रखा है, बस उसे हमें यूज़ करना है, राइट? तो हम क्या करेंगे, वो लाइब्रेरी जो भी कोड जिन्होंने बना के लिखा बनाया है वो कोड वी विल ट्राई टू गेट इट एंड विल ट्राई टू ऐड दैट इनटू योर एप्लीकेशन. कैसे करेंगे, आई विल शो यू. आपको जो भी कोड चाहिए, लेट्स से mun repository, here you will find the most of the jars. I will search for Lombok. Now just click on this project Lombok. Now this I will take the latest version, or maybe you can take, that's fine. Click on this. Now there is option called as jar. Download that. This is jar. Now this jar file contains lot of predefined classes, interfaces, methods, which will help you to generate the getter, setters, constructor. Now we will add the jar one time. This is one time setup. Now I want to add this jar to your application. Just click on project structure, then go to libraries, click on plus, click on Java, and where it is under the downloaded folders. Now let me check that under the users, downloads, and you will find there is one Lombok. This is jar. Click on OK, OK. Click on apply and OK. Now you will find that external libraries, there you will find the Lombok. This, if you see here, this particular thing has a lot of classes. It has a lot of classes. This is a predefined code. This is a predefined code. It's a predefined code. They have written a lot of. Now if you see Java, C, bytecode, there are a lot many things they have developed. They developed a lot of things. Okay. Now this code is free to use. Now how do I use this code? Now I want to generate getters and setters. Now instead of you writing this, I write simple couple of things. @ getter, @ setter. I want all argument constructor. I write @ all our constructor. I write no arguments constructor. I want toString also. You just write the toString. That's it. If there is one field, there is 1000 fields or 10,000 fields, you just need to write this. That's it. And you test the class once again. Your code will work as enable annotation processing, yes, and your code will work as it is. You don't need to write that getters and setters. What you need to write, if you want only getters, you write only @ getter. If you want only setters, you write @ setter. It will give the same output. This is one of the library that lot of time we are going to use. It is taking a little time. Okay. Let me use what happened. Okay. Let me recompile that once. it should work now. Student ID 1, student name, student address. Yes, it's okay. Yes, second. It's fine. Mhm. It will work. Now there might be one issue. What is the issue? There might be issue that the code that Lombok people have written might be in. No, that's fine. It's working. That's fine. Now sometime what happens? Now, there is a issue in lot of libraries कि आपने जावा आपका जावा करंट मशीन पे है JDK 8. अगर उन्होंने कोड लिखा है जावा 17 के लिए तो आपकी मशीन पे चलेगा नहीं चलेगा. तो कभी कभी ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आपने जार तो डाउनलोड करी है, ऐड करी है, लेकिन उसके अंदर जो कोड लिखा है वो अपर वर्जन के लिए लिखा है, लेकिन आपकी मशीन में चल रहा है JDK 8, तो इशू दे सकता है. तो ये आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा कि उन्होंने जो भी लाइब्रेरी आप ऐड करने का ट्राई कर रहे हो, लाइब्रेरी मतलब कोड किसी ने ऑलरेडी लिखा है, वो कोड आप आपकी मशीन में ऐड मतलब पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट में ऐड करने का ट्राई कर रहे हो, तो आपको चेक करना है कि ये कोड कौन सी JDK या वर्जन पे यूज़ करके बनाया उन्होंने, ये चेक करना है. तो अभी ये चल रहा है. इट्स वर्किंग. यस. दिस इज वन वेरी यूजफुल लाइब्रेरी वी आर गोइंग टू यूज. अभी आपको दोनों एक साथ चाहिए, मुझे दोनों गेटर एंड सेटर चाहिए, तो आप डेटा लिखो @data, तो फिर से आपको ये चल जाएगा. अलग अलग गेटर सेटर लिखने से चाहिए @data लिखो. Works fine. This also works fine. This is also very useful library you can use. This is one time setup. अभी बाकी के लिए आपको बस हर एक जगह पे अभी let's say I will create another class, let's say product, and there also I will have multiple fields, let's say private and ID, private string name. That's it. What I need to do, I just need to copy this and paste. That's it. Now I'm ready to use the product also. So did we write any manual constructor there? No, but we are able to do that. So it has provided two constructors, no argument constructor and all argument constructor. So I will one and I will say, let's say laptop. So where is this coming from? So this is because of this one, and I want to print that product. So when I print the product, it will call the toString method. So toString method is this is toString method. Run this. So this is something you will use in the most of the advanced projects. इसे यही हम यूज करने वाले आगे जाके. So do you need to write any getter setters? No. Constructor? No. toString? No. If you want to generate equals and hash code, that also you can do. Equals and hash code also, that is also generated. So I have two products, product 2. Now I will say product 1, product 2, and I will simply say product 1 dot equals product 2. So it should return me true. Yes, it will return me true because it is going to override the equals and it will do a contain check. It will do a contain check because their ID and name both are same. True. Now you can specify on what field you want to have. Exclude, you can say on param, on which param you want to generate the on which parameter you want to generate the equals and hash code. By default it will generate the hash code and equals for all the parameters. Now sometime you want to specify on param, I want to generate the on name पे भी कर सकते हैं. On param name. ठीक है, we add that into the ठीक है. Why it is not coming? Okay, by default it is taking any annotation. Why it is not working? नहीं, equal to ही है, लेकिन I don't know why it is not working. Default it is on param default.
तो पहला exclude लेके देखते हैं, exclude ID वो आएगा laptop sync के लिए
name. ठीक है, that's fine. I don't know why it is not working. Exclude, there also okay, ठीक है, ठीक है. Exclude ID, we'll try with ID. 2. हाँ, that's fine. वो आ गया? Yes. On param चलना चाहिए. That's I'm not sure why it is not okay. ठीक है, that's fine. तो अभी बस आपका टेस्ट हो रहा है नेम के ऊपर. Now if I say mobile or laptop something, their ID is same. Their ID is same, but their names are different. So this will return false. ठीक।